right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Indian Wells Valley Water District Administration / Executive Committee regular meeting of Wednesday, June 14th. I'm calling the meeting to order, 2025, and I'm calling the meeting to order at 3 p.m. Do we have any committee or public comments? Looking to staff? No. General manager? No. There's no one in the room with us from the public. Is there anyone online? Very good. Then we'll move on to outstanding public record requests. Who'd like to take that on?
We got a new public records request. It was odd. It requested information on certain addresses in Trona. I've prepared a draft sort of response, which essentially says, we don't have any property in Trona. We don't know what these addresses are in Trona. We don't have any pipes in Trona. We don't serve any Trona. We do have a connection to Cyril's Valley Minerals, which supplies Trona. It's 15 miles away, and we have no information for you.
Okay.
That's sort of the response I intend to give.
All right. Were there any other new public records requests? Nope.
Not
All
that
right.
I'm aware of.
That's good. All right. Then we'll move on then to temporary MRC position.
I'll give that one to Jason.
So if you remember, I brought the idea of bringing 2 temps on board with the thought that one will work into a permanent employee. I neglected to put it on the org chart, so we have to bring it back to you to approve that position on the org chart.
And here's our org chart. Where's this fellow located? This person? Could be
He's under-
anybody.
He would be put under groups.
Yeah, he'd be under the maintenance and construction supervisor. He could go in between the two.
So I see that column. There's John Svitka,
Yes.
Rob Cunningham, Chris Charlon, and Harley Moulet.
Mm-hmm.
And where is the position on this for the new person?
It'll be added underneath Harley.
Okay, so you're just giving us the existing.
Right.
All right. What do you need from us today on this issue?
Approval of the organization chart.
Okay, with the organizational, do you have a problem with that?
I do not.
As it currently stands, we have no objection.
As amended, yeah.
Question, when you say approval of the org chart, does that include approval of a new position?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is not shown on this org chart.
Yeah, that's why I asked. So
That's why I said,
org chart without
that's why I said
I
it.
think it was thinking with you
All
there.
right, that's why I said as it currently exists. All right, with your explanation, we will have the new position on the new org chart for the directors at the regular board meeting. Oh, there's no reason to assign blame. Just please make sure it's on there. All right, I don't have a problem with it.
I'm good.
All right, thank you. Employee injury report, here we go. I think I asked for this, didn't I? You asked for it, Dave. All right. Okay. And the last one was abrasion.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any feel for how this looks historically over time? Is this an increase? Is it an average of 1 per year? Do you have any feel for that?
Historically, we have about 1 a year. We had a really good run for about 2.5 years where we didn't have any, but on average, we do about 1 a year.
Okay.
Was that during COVID? There's a June 20, then you had 21, then you have one till 23.
No,
you had-
actually, our run was right before COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So predated, so June 20th would have been during COVID, so, all right.
Well, my goal is to get some insight into whether there's issues with our safety protocols or safety training or safety stand downs. I'd like some insight into that, if you could, at some point, please.
Of course. I can
Chuck,
comment
anything?
on my,
1 second. Vice President Griffin, anything?
No, these weren't all lost time accidents though, right? So these are,
There, I believe there was only one, and Lauren can correct me if I'm wrong, that was a lost time injury.
And which one was that? Wild guess.
The ones that say indemnity or the ones we would have lost time? So we only had 4 of those in the past. Oh, okay. I took it out of your, it's confidential.
That's fine.
We had 4 within the past, we had 4 within the past 5 years that were lost time.
Okay.
okay, and on, all of those have returned to work except for one, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, George, please.
yeah, my general sense is I have attended a number of safety briefings here. I think the program here is very much in line with those of you that have worked with the federal government would think of as a standard safety program where we have different topics. Things are discussed, everybody's involved. It's taken very seriously. I think they have a pretty robust program.
Okay, thank you. All right.
So what are we gonna do with this? Would you like a more detailed report or?
I just wanted one-off understanding of what our average was. So there's a number of factors to take into account, which I'm sure they all do. You have new staff, there's people are drifting away from regular safety protocols, change in the schedule hours are leading to fatigue later in the day that might be causing lapses in judgment. And I'd like to identify if there's an issue. I'd like to have it identified if there's an issue that can be addressed before we have a serious injury that takes place.
We have not seen any pattern of, that things are occurring because of, it's happening later in the day, or it's happening during the summer, or it's happening because we have too many new people. It's just, they've been some random injuries.
So random question, do we have a policy for maintaining hydration?
Yeah, it's
field
in our
workers?
heat and illness prevention program.
And they stick to that pretty well?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was relatively new since I've been here, and it's what was that, like a year ago? 8, 9
We've
months
had
ago?
it for about 2 years now.
2 years now, okay. So I know there were some updates to that. You want to give it just a briefing? I know they have, is it once a month, we do one with the people up front and we all sit in the back, we have a meeting, and then Jason in the back, you guys do a safety briefing
Twice a month.
twice a month. They do a stand down where everybody sits around and they talk about the different safety topics as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for the report. You can remove this from the agenda for the next meeting. I'm satisfied for now. All right, item 6, Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority.
Yes, there is a meeting this coming Wednesday. I have not seen an agenda yet, so I don't know what's on it. I
Okay.
doubt it's out. At last month's meeting, it was an interesting meeting.
Well, we still have time to post the agenda. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Really, the major thing that we discussed that I probably said too much on, but was the Senate bills. I stated my opposition and asked the question when it was voted on, if it was voted on by the Groundwater Authority Board, and they informed me that it was a closed session item and I was not privy to that.
Yeah.
And so that's when it happened.
Well, that's when it's alleged to have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went through that. The one thing that Bill Hall stressed for legal was the water district targeting the small de minimis users. And so that frustrated me. I don't feel that the water district is any way trying to take away the rights of the de minimis users or restrict their pumping.
Okay.
And so we went back and forth on that a little bit. I just tried ending it because it's not worth it to argue. So I did also request in closed session. We were having a discussion. We were getting nowhere. And I said, I think it's time that we mediate because we're not getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked me if I would announce that when I came out. I said I would. I left closed session. They continued on in closed session. And then when the meeting started Mr. Hall gave his report, and then I informed the public and the board that I would be bringing it to this board for mediation, and since then, I know we did receive a letter from the county and
From the groundwater
from the
authority.
groundwater authority, and I anticipate that we will be doing some type of mediation, so.
Okay.
I don't know,
Questions?
Do you have anything you want to add, George, or?
No, I think that sums it up. I think it will be interesting to see how it plays out.
Okay.
There's a note in here, discuss feasible alternatives to the pipeline. I might make a quick note that a young man, Tim Cash, approached me and he is advocating potentially for some sort of cloud seeding program to increase water in the valley. We talked about a number of alternatives, including, what if you were cloud seeding to the north of Little Lake and you could get more water to run into Little Lake? And we have this nice measurement device there. And if you could prove that you were getting extra water there, somebody might be able to use water like that. And, so we've not discussed a number of things. I advised him that certainly discussing with the Navy would be the appropriate thing to do because, this is a program where, you might fly drones around and some other ways of getting cloud seeding done. And I do believe he's having some discussions with the Navy as well. So
Okay.
it's just another one of those things that's out there. It's being done in a number of areas. One of the things that's, as I looked into it, in Utah, they have done a cloud seeding program that has increased the snowpack somewhere between 6 and 12% on average in the Salt Lake City area, which is beneficial to them. That's a significant amount.
Mhm.
So I think there are people here on the board who know a whole lot more about cloud seeding than I do. So just so you know, we're certainly talking about it. It's another one of those ideas that's out there that might not be the be-all, end-all solution to the problem, but a piece of a solution for our problem.
I think the solution to our problems are probably a series of small adjustments and projects, not a $500 million pipeline. Thank you. Let's see, any others on that? Then we'll go to 7, alternate water sources. And which George really just kind of covered.
Yeah,
The only thing I want to say on alternate water sources is, I agree with George and I agree with your comment that, a collaboration of small projects. And I believe that we need to make sure that as soon as we can get some of our ideas sent to Mr. Ellis, Mrs. Grove, and get some of that stuff out there so they have some option items.
Okay.
yeah, and I will say I had some discussions with California City, and then what's going on there was interesting. They do have a connection to AVEC. They generally don't use it and don't want to use it, and in fact want to be, according to their water person, they would like to be disconnected from AVEC and no longer have to pay for that service. And so it's a interesting example of a city that built or somebody, I was trying to figure out like when was that pipeline built, how much, I was trying to find some history on like this AVEC section of pipeline that goes to California City, because it was disturbing to find out that they've come to the conclusion that they don't even want to be connected to that. That to me was disturbing.
Okay.
As an outcome. Certainly wouldn't want to see anybody build a pipeline and then find out that here's this pipeline and nobody wants to use it and there's no water flowing through it. That's never a good investment. I looked at their property taxes and they do pay property taxes to AVEC to cover that. And of course, if the water does come through the pipeline, I believe it's delivered to them at a $790 an acre foot rate. And obviously, if it were cheaper to get it that way, they would be paying for it that way. But
Right.
clearly, they're getting it less expensively by pumping it out of the Fremont Basin. So it was just an interesting case study
Interesting.
for what it's worth.
Okay. Anyone else?
No, George, did they mention anything what their recharge was in Fremont Valley? Were they seeing an increase in their wells
No.
or?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get that far
Okay.
in the discussion.
Just curious.
I had some discussions with him just to sort of find out, what was going on there. I think I need to go back and really sort of ask, what do they mean? by getting disconnected from, I don't know what that would mean. Does that mean they don't have to pay the property taxes? Does that mean they just, do they pay some other fee, or is it just the water fee? It did raise some interesting questions.
What would concern me on that is, I don't know that they could just get away from a fee, just like if we were sent this pipeline
Well, they-
and we were assessed, our customers were assessed a tax rate,
Mm,
whether you use the water or not, that's got to be paid for. So that would be my concern.
Yeah, and so that's why I said I think I need to go back. I came away kind of with more questions than I had, but certainly it was worth the trip down there. I'll probably make another trip sometime in the near future.
Okay, thank you.
I think the only other thing would be that we've reached out to the city of El Paso, Texas, and Padre Dam down in San Diego and Orange County to trying to get as much up to the minute prices for per acre foot for wastewater treatment
okay,
and recycled water.
And so far, you found it to be relatively reasonable, in the under
The highest,
$1,000 an
the
acre.
highest one I found so far is $1,100.
Yeah, so that's significantly less than, our estimate of the pipeline, which is, so what was it, $7,000 to $10,000 an acre foot or something, that
Right.
first delivery?
It's pretty high.
could be, depending on the cost, an order of magnitude cheaper.
Yes.
All right. Well, very good. If I'm seeing nothing else, then I will go ahead and we'll go to draft agenda for the regular board meeting. Take just a moment to look it over. Okay. I have a question about item 9, public hearing. And what exactly is the activity at that point?
So they passed AB 2561 at the beginning of the year, requiring all agencies to report annually at a public hearing prior to adopting their fiscal budget,
Okay.
stating how many vacancies they have.
And
And if it's over 20%, then we would have to reevaluate. Right now, we have 0 vacancies.
right.
And it would also open up to the current negotiators to come and make a presentation on how they feel changes should be made to better retain employees and
Okay.
acquire new employees.
This is interesting. We have okay, we're going to pass the budget, but beforehand, we have to tell you that nobody wants to work here. Right,
We
okay.
have 0 vacancies. We have a
I know,
low turnover.
No, the fact that you have 0 vacancies and a low turnover rate says a great deal about the organization.
So I'll
Positive.
report, I'll
Yeah.
report that and how we currently fill any vacancies that do come up.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate your patience with my question. I kind of thought that was the case, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't mistaken.
So I'll make a couple of comments on things that you'll see there. The joint powers representative, I think everybody's aware that that's to be discussed by the board. This seems to be the appropriate meeting to do that, considering the current representative is here.
Yes, okay. Got it?
Um, Due to some questions that Stan raised, I believe Ty is going to give a more detailed sort of update to sort of how we see the future projects beyond 2026. Is that correct, Ty?
Yeah, just a modification of the CIP plan. You saw previously
Okay.
that there's 9 million scheduled for 2027.
You're going to spread that out a little bit?
Spread that out.
Okay, you've got a big thing of butter at the edge of the toast. You're going to move that in?
Exactly.
All right, thank you.
And to the general manager report, I added a note that says pertinent legislative updates, at which I would make a quick update on what's going on with some of the pertinent bills, some that we've been requested to support by Aqua or CSDA, and those that affect us directly. And I assume the board would be receptive to that report.
Sure, absolutely. We've had that sort of thing in the past when we were interested in the electrical vehicle mandate.
Yeah, so I just put it under the general manager's report, and I think we'll just leave it there
Okay.
as a standing item.
Vice President Griffin, do you see anything on here that,
I don't see anything on here that I have questions about. I do have a question, and I'm not sure about adding it, but I would like to see something on here. I don't know what can be discussed and what cannot, as far as the Inyo current CSD. I've gotten 3 phone calls this week, so obviously they've been contacted. And the calls that I've got is that we want to take over the community service district and we're requesting to do that. And so I want to get that clarified, so it's not.
So I can tell you that just yesterday, it was yesterday, right, Ty? We went out to Inyo Kern CSD. We met with Holly, the person there. She did confirm that they had been called by the state, as have we. So no one is unaware, although I didn't necessarily hear that she had told her board about the call. I asked if she had talked to her board, and she said she hadn't had a chance to do that yet. So I don't know how appropriate it would be for us to get too in-depth about that discussion if she has not yet talked to their board.
Well, if there's several people who have already contacted you, they're likely to come in and make public comment.
Yeah, so
The only address I would say is that this would be involuntary on our part because the state has told us this is what we'd like to have done and you will do it. So there it is.
That was my question. Could that be our statement, that it was involuntary on our part?
Yeah,
Because we are nowhere trying to
No way or
take
shape.
that from them or do anything. So
We'll see the board.
and I did call the
Prefer-
state.
We would prefer, you've heard me ask this question and when we're bringing in mutuals, is this a voluntary integration into our system? Is not my desire to take anybody over against their will, but the state says you will take on the water portion of the your current community services district, then by golly, that's what you're going to do. So I
Yeah.
don't know what else to say about it.
We have a consolidation item on the agenda already. We could talk about it there.
Oh, let's do
if it
that.
comes up, so maybe then if somebody does show up, we could tell them we're going to discuss that on the consolidation, so we could actually give them.
And
an
that's
answer.
under the general manager and staff report,
Yes.
yeah? All right.
We should emphasize, the state letter doesn't say we should take them over. It says that
Talk to
the state would like us to help them in any way we can, short of giving them our customers money. And that was the message I delivered yesterday. Like, we want to help you find a way to be sustainable, but we are prohibited by law from spending our money to do so. We hope you can find a way to succeed. We will do anything we can do short of spending our customers' money to,
Have we received a letter from the state on this topic?
no.
We have not yet. Okay, all right.
All right, and then the only other question I have, at the board workshop, I was troubled and I went home and I thought, is there any type of board workshops, or classes that maybe we could attend? Because I guess I'm kind of having trouble with board members, including myself, wanting to manage our staff and do too much. And I think that we need to nip that in the bud, because I don't think that's what the board is created for.
Yeah, the initial training that we all received had that quite clearly in it.
I believe there was a good workshop that all of us attended at the CSDA meeting. And it really, they had a person who sat there specifically, and it was what boards do and what boards do not do. I believe CSD offers that twice a year. I think they may have one in Monterey in a few months. We will offer that to all board members to attend to get refresher training. Might be good for the,
I think it might be good. If you could at least let us know when that is, because it could be beneficial. I don't want to see our staff micromanaged by the board. I want to see the board direct the general manager. And
Let me ask the question differently. Are any of our staff being directed directly by a member of this board?
I am not.
I guess not outside of board meetings.
Okay, because, all right. So I'm just going to state this is the policy that the board of directors cannot give instruction to staff. They have to go through the general manager. And if anyone on staff were to find themselves being given directions by a board member, they should say, that's lovely. You'll need to talk to George about that. I can't take instruction from you.
And that's what we've been doing
Okay.
if we receive, it's been a while. But yeah.
All right. good.
Okay, I just see.
I get you. I'm similarly sensitive to that idea. Yeah, okay.
And that's all, that was all my comments.
So do you think you're good with going ahead with the agenda?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's perfect. Thank
Can
you.
I clarify one thing that was just added today? I know, I don't know if you guys saw it or waiting to the board meeting, but there's a quick claim for.
Yeah, I did see it. I did not, I just assumed
Well,
equipment would tell us about it.
we still own a parcel that runs right through the middle of St. Anne's Catholic School. So it was probably something that was intended to be passed on to the school ages ago. And maybe the county didn't file it or something happened in the paperwork. Because obviously they built the school, so it's there. So we are going to be quit claiming that parcel to the Diocese
Fresno, yeah.
Yeah, Education Corporation. So that it's all properly in their name now.
Okay, right, very good. Thank you. All right, do we have any future agenda items?
Not that I can think of.
All right, then I will say, we'll bring this, thank you all for your time and attention to these matters, and let's adjourn the meeting at 3:25 PM. See you Monday, if not sooner.
Thanks, Todd.